You have a CPA, an estate attorney, a financial advisor, and probably a few other advisors. Each of them knows they're part of your situation, but none of them is responsible for how the pieces connect. And you are the one managing that gap, on top of running a company or a demanding career, on top of your family, and on top of everything else you have going on. At some point, the question of a family office surfaces. Most people approach it by just asking whether they have enough wealth to justify one. But that question on its own misses the bigger picture. Hi, I'm Teresa Armel, a wealth advisor at Next Vantage. We work with families who have reached a point where their financial complexity has outpaced their current advisory structure. Whether establishing a family office is the right answer to that problem depends on 6 key factors. The first factor is complexity. The question of having enough wealth matters in a sense that a family office is expensive, and there is a floor below which the economics simply don't work. But complexity is what determines whether one is genuinely needed, and these two concepts don't always move together. For families overseeing businesses across multiple jurisdictions, real estate in different markets, and estate plans that span more than one generation, the coordination alone can grow well beyond what a traditional advisory arrangement was ever built to manage. If the advisors you have are each working their piece, without visibility into the others, that is a signal that you should consider a family office. The second factor to consider is cost. A properly staffed family office is expensive to operate. Depending on the structure and scope, you are typically looking at somewhere between $1 to $3 million a year, and sometimes even more. Before that number becomes the basis for a decision, it needs to be measured against what you are currently spending across all of your advisors and whether a dedicated structure would deliver better outcomes for the difference. Some families find that comparison points clearly toward building a family office. Others find that what they need is simply better coordination of the advisors they already have. And that is a different answer and often a less expensive one. Assuming the economics support it, the third factor is purpose. A family office without a defined mandate tends to expand in directions that weren't intended and underperform in areas that were. Before building anything, the family needs to define what the office will be specifically responsible for. Investment management, tax and legal coordination, philanthropy, education for the next generation, those are just a few things to consider. The scope should really come from the family's genuine needs, not from a general idea of what a family office is supposed to include. The fourth factor is governance, and it is one that families most consistently underestimate. Governance means having written clarity around who makes which decisions, how disagreements between family members or branches get resolved, and how leadership responsibilities transfer over time. A structure without that clarity tends to function well until a specific moment arrives where it doesn't. The families that work through those questions before a conflict forces them to are the ones who navigate transitions with far less disruption. With governance defined, the fifth factor is people. A family office requires specialized professionals across several functions, including investment management, legal and tax expertise, estate planning, and operational staff experienced in running a complex private organization. The ability to attract and retain that talent is one of the most practical constraints on this decision. A well-designed structure with the wrong team will underperform a simpler one with the right people every time. And the sixth factor is structure. Specifically, what are you building? The 3 models to consider are a single-family office built and staffed exclusively for one family, a multifamily office that distributes infrastructure and costs across several families, and then a hybrid that draws from both. Each involves different trade-offs on cost, privacy, control, and operational responsibility. How the previous 5 factors resolve tends to make one of those options look considerably more appropriate than the others. Working through these 6 key factors does not always lead to the conclusion that a family office is the right answer. For some families, the right structure is a more coordinated advisory relationship, one that delivers the oversight and integration a family office would provide without the cost and complexity of building a standalone organization. That distinction is a significant part of what we do here at Next Vantage. If you are managing complexity that your current advisory structure was not built to handle, we would welcome the chance to discuss what the right answer looks like for your specific situation. You can reach our team at next-vantage.com.